Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in again to Keys to a Richer Life. My name is Keitra Richmond, and I am a licensed real estate expert serving the Dallas-Fort Worth community. Today, I'm super excited because our show is focused on the importance of mental health. I am so excited to introduce you to Crystal Dudley. Crystal is a licensed professional counselor here serving the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We get to deep dive into conversations surrounding the topics of vulnerability, the importance of setting boundaries, also establishing good connections within our community. I'm so excited for this episode. I am about anything that encompasses mental health and just being able to make sure that we are in a good mindset so that way when we go out into the world, we have the tools that we need. And I'm going to stop talking and let's jump right into it. Let's go meet with Crystal. I'm very glad I have an opportunity to sit down with you. You know what you're talking about. You know, you can tell that it doesn't come from a place of textbooks. It seems like it comes from a place of like your own personal journey. Can you talk to me about what made you want to become a counselor and to help others?
Yeah, definitely. So I started out as a elementary school teacher.
Really?
And then from there went into middle school, and I was teaching special education. And from working in special ed, I noticed that a lot of my clientele were African American boys.
Right.
And most of those African American boys who had been tagged with having a learning disability really didn't have a learning disability.
What was
most of their issues were adverse childhood experiences, things that they had been through in their homes. Do I have a safe space to sleep? Do I have meals coming consistently? Most of them only ate when they were at school. Do I know if my lights are going to be on when I get home? Am I the one responsible for all of my siblings? So if I don't have a stable home environment, I'm going to do everything that I can to go to a place where I don't have to work so I can get some sleep now.
Right.
So I can get the things that I need. So I felt like a lot of the people who I had on my list were people who did not have their basic needs met.
Right.
But that fueled my fire to want to be a therapist, because I realized that therapy is out there. But growing up in an African American home, we don't talk about therapy.
No,
we'll tell you go to church.
Suck it up.
Yeah,
you be all right.
Yeah,
you know, I heard all of it.
That person is on. They on crazy pills.
Yes.
You know, we say things like that. You know, so yes, there's nothing wrong with going to church. There's nothing wrong with prayer.
Right.
But the same way that we trust that God gave the pastor the ability to be the pastor.
Right.
We were also given that gift as therapists to be able to do the same thing. And so that fueled me to want to provide mental health awareness within the African American community. Actually, my first practice was established in South Oak Cliff.
Really?
Because that's where I wanted to be able to open up my services. And so that pushed me to make sure that if I don't get on any other insurance panel, I made sure to get on Medicaid panel.
That's awesome. I think that it's a benefit that you were able to start out in special education teaching, because you were able to see firsthand who that demographic was, who needed it the most. Not that everybody doesn't need to tap into seeing a counselor, understanding their mental health, but you specifically went to an area, went to a group that doesn't really have it, who's deprived of those services. And I want to circle back to what you said about, it's nothing wrong with going to church or, seeking some sort of counsel and comfort through God. But one of my favorite scriptures is, and I know y'all know, is faith without works is dead. And that's with anything. It's just like, yes, I can pray and I can ask God for help. I can ask God to, deliver me from these things that I'm feeling. But if I don't get up and act on what He's sending me, if I don't answer the phone or, click the link to whatever email that comes through, then I'm not going to receive the help. So it takes a little bit more than just saying, God, send me help. You have to be able to walk in that. So I'm glad that you see it that way, because a lot of people don't see the balance between the two and the importance. So, so you, as I mentioned, you're not like a traditional counselor in my eyes. And I say this because I've had an opportunity to tap into a non-traditional sense of like life coaching, seeking holistic healers, and then also seeing a traditional counselor. But I had to pay for those two individuals and see them at different times, and kind of explain to one what I learned from the other and what I've been doing. But see, I should have known you like a few years back, because I would have had the opportunity to have to tap into both worlds at once. So talk to me about, and correct me if I'm wrong, empathetic touch.
Empathic touch.
Empathic touch healing.
Yes.
Okay. So what is that?
I believe that we all have gifts that we know, if there's something that resonates with us when it comes to feeling. And so one of the biggest things that came easy to me in doing therapy is because I've always been a very empathic person.
Right.
I can remember being 4 years old and I could be in a room with somebody way across on the other side, and if they were crying, it's like I could feel everything that they would be feeling, and I'd be over there just crying. My mom was like, "What is wrong with you?" No, she's crying. I don't know why I'm crying. And so one of the biggest advantages I had in doing therapy is being able to feel sometimes what the other person was carrying. And I found that sometimes all a person needs is for you to do this.
Right.
Total meltdown.
Right.
Because they've been trying to hold on to so many things. But not only that, once we went into the pandemic, many people started to separate themselves from other people. And now people are very anxious to even touch or be around others.
Right.
So learning empathic touch is not necessarily just about the therapist being able to connect with the client, but teaching the client to be able to touch themselves, hug themselves, affirm themselves, get themselves more comfortable with the way that they love on themselves, so that they're able to open up to allow other people to do that as well. So more of a self-soothing.
It is. It's kind of like, when you swaddle a child, just let them know that, you're okay. You don't just feel like you're just out there, with the baby. They don't feel right, or they don't feel safe if their arms are just flaring. I think the same is with us. Like you said, just being able to tell yourself over and over who you are, affirming yourself, and on top of that, giving yourself that same love back. I think I got to that point on my own, but not knowing what it was. I didn't know that I was doing any sort of like empathic touch. I just knew that nobody else was there at the time that I was going through, like, to hold me, and take me through that. But I will say, even though you stated the empathic touch is not Reiki, the benefits of it is essentially the same. At the beginning of 2019, I went through some stuff. We'll just, say that for another time, because we don't have, we only got a few minutes here. But I went through some challenging things that even counselors couldn't understand prior to finding out about Reiki, or just something else that might be able to help me. So I think I accidentally came across Reiki, and I only went as a last resort. But I promise, like, after that first session, just having someone who was full of love, who was full of positivity, who was just, this affirming spirit, just take time to, like you said, just touch. And, just even that moment, just be reaching out to you, like there's some sort of connection there. And I didn't really understand what was happening, but the best way, because I'm even though, like, I'm a creative thinker, I'm still very literal. And the best way I could connect it to as to how this works is the same way that a mom is, or a parent is, to their child when they fall. And it's just like, they're screaming, they're active, they're just panicking, and it's like, it's okay, I got you. And you put your hand, on their knee, and it's like, I got you, I feel better. And it's like, I didn't do anything special.
I didn't touch where you got hurt or anything, but oh my gosh, my mom touched me.
And it's just, that feeling. And for those that, can't connect or can't understand, I say energy is everything.
It is.
And it's everywhere. It's just like when you walk into a room after somebody's gotten into a fight or an argument, you could feel that too. So it works in the exact same way.
Definitely. So with empathic touch, that's all you're doing is touching yourself and breathing and visualizing the things that you're trying to heal within yourself, because at the end of the day, we're just there to guide you, but you are the healer. You're healing yourself.
So that's a good little transition into something else I wanted to talk to you about. In order for a person to be to even get to the step of seeing a counselor, and then especially to get to the steps of like just being open to saying, I want this, they have to be vulnerable with themselves. And so I don't think a lot of people really understand how much you're able to receive once you are open and honest with just what's going on with you. So let's chat about vulnerability for a little while. You had a really great video up in terms of why people don't like to be vulnerable in the first place. So let's chat about that a little bit.
I always give this example with my clients. There's a difference between I pull you to the mirror and say, you're not matching. That doesn't look good.
Right.
In your mind, you're going to say, she just hating on me.
Right.
I know I look good. But then when I go look at myself and say, well, could they be onto something? You know what? Maybe I didn't match that. Maybe that does not look good.
Right.
How do I want to change that?
Right.
That's the person that is going to be successful.
Exactly.
Because they themselves has said, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to take into consideration the other vantage points that other people have. And maybe they are onto something. Maybe I do need to explore this.
Right.
That in itself is being vulnerable. To me, I think the most vulnerable that we can be is standing in front of the mirror and staring at ourselves without trying to change anything about ourselves. It's hard to just look in the mirror and not start primping and changing. And want to be perfect. Like, oh, I'm greasy. I need to block this, right? But to stand there and allow that imperfection to not be touched, not be changed, that is the most vulnerable space that you can be.
Right.
A lot of people don't like that.
Right.
That's uncomfortable. It's not perfection. But that's what you need in order to be open to the healing. Right. You yourself are going to have to say, okay, I've allowed myself to be vulnerable. I've looked at myself and I've accepted that these things are my flaws. And I've accepted that not only I see the flaws, other people around me see the flaws.
So I got a question there.
Okay.
Because at 42, and prior to being in the relationship that I'm in right now, along the lines of me healing, it's a forever journey, but just healing and getting to a point of confidence and just saying, all right, this is me. I've accepted who I am. I'm doing the work to heal where I am. I'm comfortable enough to go out and start dating. Now, throughout that journey, I noticed I ran into a lot of people where initially it would seem like we would connect because they were able to admit their flaws. And naturally, being an empathetic person, I'm just like, oh, I'm swooning and I'm excited. I found somebody like myself. But what happened was I was running into a lot of people where when I would ask the next question, have you started to do the work? Are you seeing a counselor? Are you, talking to anybody? What are you doing to fix those things you just told me about? And I feel like the common consensus would be, oh, well, I know what my issue is. So what would you say, or what advice would you have to the person who's, pretty much found everything that's wrong with them, thrown their junk drawer out on the floor and just said, well, I know what's wrong. I don't need anybody else to tell me how to fix it.
Yes, that in itself is, you're just wearing that issue kind of as a badge of honor. It's like that cup of coffee stain that you get on your shirt. You had time to go and change to another shirt, but instead you wore it. So, well, I know that I got a coffee stain on my shirt. Okay, so what are we going to do about it? Your shirt is going to stay stained. We need to take it to the cleaners. You need to spray something on it. Like all of those things. It's the same perspective. So just identifying what your problem is great. But now what am I going to do to fix it? Because at the end of the day, I can probably list how this problem has caused other issues in my past. Those same issues are most likely going to repeat themselves if I don't do something about this problem that I've identified.
One thing that I was excited to hear about you that you're doing, you still make sure to tap in on everybody's health, but specifically men's mental health. And I know that there's an event that you put together. I forgot what it's called, where you bring the group of men together.
So we have 2 different events that we're doing. One is called Cigars and Conversations.
Yes, that's it.
And we team up with Astute Barbershop and Cigar Lounge. It's in Addison. And at least like once a month we get together. We have a group of men come in, and I absolutely love it because when men come to therapy, they already have their guards up.
Right.
So some men I have to work with like a year before I tap into the inner layers.
Right.
But in an event where everyone there are men except for me, and have everyone sharing with one another, the guys are pulling those walls back.
Right.
And they're connecting with one another.
Right.
And usually after about an hour, when I get the momentum going, I'm like, all right, guys, well, I'm going to leave. I'm going to let y'all have it. Because now the ball is rolling.
Right.
Now they're connecting with each other. They're exchanging numbers.
Right.
They're encouraging one another. They're telling each other stories that they've experienced. But the very first session that we had, most amazing session, we opened up the floor for anybody that wanted to share. And we had a young man that had not grieved the loss of his daughter.
Wow.
And as soon as he started talking about it, he just started crying. And the first thing he did was started to apologize, which I find that most men will do when they show a vulnerability. They apologize because society has taught them men aren't vulnerable. Men are strong, men are angry, men are aggressive. That's right.
Yeah, just hold on to
but
all of it.
Vulnerability, grief, those are seen as weaknesses. And so being able to be in a space where other men were supporting him, saying, hey man, you have a reason to cry. You're grieving. That was your child. I can't even imagine how you've gone this long. Allow yourself to feel. So I love that we're able to create an environment where men are able to feel safe, even if they don't want to come here to get the therapy. There's a space and an outlet for that. And then the other organization that we've started from that is called the Smoke Session. And so we'll call other cigar lounges or restaurants or anywhere and just kind of tell them about what we're doing, and then we do the same setup. Have guys come out, talk about things that have to do with their mental health, and take it from there.
But I like how you tied in, dare I say, like the masculinity, what they already do. You know, hanging out with bros, you know, smoking cigars, maybe having a drink or just that fellowship. And then it's like, let me just slide this in over here. Let's talk about our feelings. And while they're already in their element, like, wait, feelings. And it's nice that it's not just this one-on-one with you. You are there to help guide the conversation if need be. But once it gets going, like they already have like this fellowship. So, and I'm sure that opens up the gateway for them to see, maybe I do need to talk to someone, and now I'm more comfortable. They've made that decision. One of the things that you spoke on is society seeing men as, you know, this, you have to hold your feelings in, you know, you have to be strong for everyone. I know that there are probably some ladies watching this right now like, we got to be that too, and we do. If you can answer this, what differences do you see in the way that, since we do carry that same load, and the way that women, especially Black women, are able to kind of, whether it be grieve losses, grieve situations, or just to even, you know, have a meltdown? Because I know that you had mentioned even in your vulnerability video that I think it was your mother or your grandmother, you really didn't see them break down too much. So you kind of, even though they probably didn't tell you that you had to be strong, you took that on as, well, this is what it is to be a woman. I've done that myself. You know, I had a very hard mother, and kind of subconsciously did it with my own daughter, to where now she's getting older, I've had to say, you know, it's okay to cry, or, you know, just let it out, and she feels like she needs to be perfect. So what would you say like the major differences are between the male and the woman perspective when it comes to feeling like society requires you to be hard?
I say there's society, and then there's Black society, right? So if I'm walking down aisle 7 and I just start crying for no reason, somebody's gonna walk up to me and, are you okay? Do we need to call someone? But if a Black man walks down aisle 7 and he breaks down, they're gonna be like 911. I don't know what's wrong. Please bring help, right? So society in a whole does not create a safe space for Black men to be vulnerable. But society as a whole thinks it's more okay for a woman to be vulnerable. But I think in, again, our culture, most of our mothers were very independent, strong women. The majority of us who were raised by single mothers definitely got that.
Right.
And so that dynamic within us in our own subculture, I think we are looked at to be, you're supposed to be self-sufficient. You're not supposed to let things affect you that way. Okay, so what, y'all broke up, move on.
You're supposed to be feminine, hard, vulnerable, sexy, and
no stomach.
Hold on, wait, let me fix myself. I don't know how I've been looking this whole show.
No stomach, gotta have all these things, stay in
but
shape.
natural, no makeup.
Yeah, no makeup.
But flawless.
Yes, long hair.
But yours.
Yes. All of these things. Yes.
And not too straight. And don't get blind.
No.
But it's too many rules. I'm like, you got to do some of everything.
You have to be all these things. I think it's just in our subculture. So that's another hard shell to break with us, is to understand that, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's okay to, if you are single and you operate more in your masculine energy, that's great. But when other masculine energy is in your orbit, do you know how to switch that off and be completely feminine? That is very, very hard if you've been in that space so much. So teaching that vulnerability of it's okay to let go.
It is.
I've already said for myself, I don't want to drive no more. Let me get in the passenger seat. You drive. Can I change the station? I don't want to anymore. So, but it took me getting to a certain space in my own personal life for me to see that it's okay to let down that wall and be vulnerable.
Right. It's been a challenge for me. Well, it's better now. But I'll say it's been, for myself, it's been almost a year that I've been in a relationship. And it's crazy. And this is just kind of, I guess a disclaimer for women that are going through the healing journey and you're just like, I got it, and you want to jump back out there. I'm not saying this will happen with everybody, but for myself, one thing that I personally experienced was being like, all right, I got this great man. He's awesome. He's masculine, but he's sweet, and all these other things you prayed for. It was a long list of like 100 things, and I got them all. But even still, because of what I had gone through, and even though I was, like I said, it's a journey, I was healing through those things, there was still a part of me that was just like, all right, is this true? Is this real? I got to kind of keep my guard up. So it's been almost like this little chiseling away, even though I've allowed him to kind of be here and be in this space. It's like, kind of like when you're used to have control of everything. It's just like, I let you touch it, but I'm looking at you crazy if you don't put it back.
Do it that way.
And you going to do it right, So I would, kind of want to kind of talk to you, I guess, like on a personal level, because like I said, this is me still chipping away at that thing. What advice would you give to a person like myself who is still trying to like completely lean into trusting that the good thing that you have isn't just gonna go away or switch up on you?
Okay. So actually, this is a conversation we had last night on our we say it's a podcast, but it's a little bit of everything. It's a forum, basically, online. And last night we talked about, and it's called Therapy Thursdays. And we have it every other Thursday. Our topic last night was relationship schemas.
Relationship schemas.
Yes. So schemas are basically just like triggers. And once something is a trigger for you, it's going to always be a trigger for you.
I thought you meant the schemers. Like they were coming in scheming. That's why I was like, tell me about it. Okay, schema. I get you now.
And so it's like a trigger. It's going to always be your trigger, no matter what. So if you failed in an ant pile when you were little, ant piles are always going to be a trigger for you, right? But I know now what to do not to get to them, but seeing them is still going to remind me of what happened.
Gotcha.
So now anytime I'm sitting in the grass, I'm going to always be looking for ant piles. When it comes to relationships, our schemas are built based off of how we were raised. In my home, did we show affection? In my home, did we have the space to talk about our emotions? In my home, did I connect well with my siblings? In my home, did my caregiver connect with me and bond with me? Now, outside of my home, was I allowed to have the freedom of being in close friendships? Did I move around a lot, or did I have long-term friendships? What were some things that happened that hurt me? Now those things are a part of my schemas. So now in every relationship I'm in, those schemas are going to come up, because I'm dealing with someone new, and every little thing they do is going to remind me of that ant pile that I fell in. But the question is, am I going to keep staying away because that's going to remind me of that ant pile? Or am I going to buy me some Raid?
Uh-huh.
And am I going to invest in me some Benadryl?
Right.
And I'm going to treat the area and put everything down and remind myself I'm safe.
Right.
This is not the same situation.
Right.
And so I think that goes back to with learning to be in a good relationship is reminding myself, this is my schema.
Right.
This is my trigger.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm in danger right now. In this moment, I'm safe. Not only that, this person makes me feel safe.
Right.
So I don't have to be afraid that I'm going to get bitten by these ants again.
Right.
And if I do see an ant, I know what I need to do.
Right.
So that preparation and then reminding yourself, this is not that situation. I'm safe.
For a person who does not know that there is something that I wouldn't say wrong with them or something that they could better in themselves, what are like the top 3 to 5 things a person who is kind of in denial could use or identify to recognize that they might need to talk to someone?
I would say there's one main thing, identifying patterns.
Okay.
If every friendship I get in, it doesn't work out because people just don't know how to treat me. If every relationship I'm in, you know what, these men just ain't no good. Every single one just ain't no good.
What is the consensus, which is like, this is just me, this is how I've always been.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes. Looking at the patterns. My jobs, same thing. I'm either being let go or fired or, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Start looking at those patterns because there's one common denominator in all of that. Yes, you may have met some people who were not ready for what you were ready for. But if every single one is not ready, then there's something that you yourself are attaching to that is connected to someone who's not ready.
I love it.
So saying, hey, if these patterns are starting to look the same in all areas of my life, maybe I do need to go get some guidance about what that is.
Right, because you end up attracting the type of person that you are. So I guess, let's kind of chat about healing and attracting or being able to manifest a better life.
Okay. So this is one thing I want people to always understand. People think, well, I thought I was healed, but I keep attracting all these broken people. I keep attracting X, Y, and Z. But this is the thing. If it's nighttime and I turn on my porch light, I might have turned that light on because you're trying to find my apartment number. But by the time you get to that door, it's going to be moths and June bugs and lizards and everything else is attracted to that light.
Right.
I turned that on that light for you, but all those things are still attracted to that light.
Right.
I can't control what's attracted to my light, but I can control what I allow to come inside my door.
Exactly.
So I think that's one of the biggest things is that people have to remember that even in healing, I'm still going to attract things that are not for me.
Right.
So I just need to decipher what that is. I need to use my intuition.
Yes, intuition and boundaries. It's crazy that you use that analogy because I had someone to use that exact analogy with me, Michelle Welch, who owns Sotopia. I sat down with her and she just wanted to pull me to the side and chat with me because my daughter and I go into her store all the time. And she identified something in myself that I hadn't even seen at that moment. She's like, you have this huge light around you. And as you grow and you continue on your healing journey, like it's going to get bigger. And she talked to me about creating kind of like a barrier around myself. And she said that barrier could be friends and family or whoever to block it. Maybe not as a physical shield, but just to be able to tap into for support, to be able to talk to them about any issues that I might be going through. So my thing that I'm still working on is like people pleasing. So when those moths or lizards or whatever come to the door, it's kind of like you feel obligated to let them in because you don't want to have them react to you saying no or whatever that situation is. So I think a good thing to be able to chat about, especially since 2020 has happened and we have learned to be isolated, is the importance of having a good support system.
Very important. And I think when we talk about support system, it brings up a lot of anxiety because there are so many people who battle with having connection to their nuclear family. So many people are separated from their family, either maybe because they moved away, maybe there was discord in their family. So as soon as we talk about support system, that brings up a lot of tension and anxiety, because first thing people think about is my parents, my siblings, my aunts and uncles, all those kinds of things. But support system and family can be the people who I know are there for me. Support system works in so many different ways. There's people who can help me with financial support. There's people who can help me with information. There's people who can help me just be around me socially. And there's people who are there for me emotionally. So everybody can play a different role. But the one thing that we have to remember is, if I have someone I pull on for financial, someone who I pull on for emotional, someone for social, someone for resources, I have to also remember that I can't expect my best friend or my significant other to wear all of those hats.
That's good.
Whatever it is that they are good at, their best hat that they wear, let them wear that hat. And still continue to lean on the rest of your support system for the parts that they play. So if my significant other is my greatest asset for financial support, let's let them wear that hat. We can't, well, you're supposed to be my best friend. You're supposed to be support me emotionally.
It goes back to that pressure you mentioned.
Yes. And so understanding that we get to create our support system the way that we need to. So many times in our life, we see friendships, support systems, and our partners as these people that are supposed to be there to do exactly what we need them to do at that given time. When we don't realize that every person that we come into contact with is there for a reason. They're teaching us a lesson, or they're going to be a lifetime whatever in our life. But so often we've gotten this cut, I'm done type of behavior with people that we don't get to see it through. And so now we have to learn how to see our friendships and our support system as a dinner party. The people who are sitting at my table are my VIP people. These are the people who I can call at 2 o'clock in the morning and they're going to be there. The tables surrounding my VIP table are the people I want to be able to turn around and talk to. And, hey, have you met so-and-so? So-and-so, that's this. You can't sit with me, but I want you close enough where I can still touch you, because you provide something for my life. And then further out and further out. So learning to see our support systems and our friendships and our relationships from that aspect of, it's not necessarily if you're supposed to be in my life, it's what table I want to place you in my life based on what you're bringing to me.
I love it. And so I know some people might hear that and be like, you're having people around you based on the benefits for you. What would you say to that?
I would say that, don't you also want to be a benefit to someone else's life? You know, I don't want somebody to just be like, oh, well, you're my friend because we sat beside each other every day when we were in school.
I love it.
What am I bringing to you? What do I add to your life? And so it is
some sort of value.
There is some value, on both ends. So
I love it. I love it. And I could talk to you forever and ever, just because, like I said, we're in alignment with a lot of things that I've gone through. Just even some things today that you tapped in that I'm reminded that I still need, and I still need to work on as well. For those that are looking to meet with the counselor, for those that want to learn more about, empathic touch, how can they reach you?
Okay, so we have 2 organizations based on what your needs are. There's Rebirth Counseling and Rebirth Incorporated. Rebirth Counseling is a for-profit mental health organization. We do take insurance. There are male and female therapists available. We are well versed in trauma, LGBTQA lifestyles, child and adolescent, addiction, anything that you can think of, we've been trained in it. We offer in-person and telehealth therapy. So come and see us. We incorporate mindfulness and holistic approaches, mind-body medicine. So you would be able to incorporate not just talk therapy, but all those other components into your therapy session, and your insurance will cover it. But on our other organization, Rebirth Inc., it is a nonprofit organization. We decided to open up this organization for people who may not have the greatest insurance, because, most organizations post-pandemic are struggling in that area. So we offer a sliding scale of flat fee, $50 per session.
Really?
And in that session, we don't call it counseling, of course, we call it coaching. But you have a lot more flexibility in a coaching session, because our coaches are also trained in all the mind-body things, and there's no red tape because there's no insurance.
Gotcha.
So we have both sides.
So with the nonprofit, are there qualifications that they have to meet?
No.
Okay.
No.
Tell
We
them
don't.
the
We don't
website.
check. We don't check your income or any of that. All you have to say is, "Hey, I don't have insurance," or "I'm just interested in counseling. I want to pay out of pocket." We don't ask all your information. You don't have to send us anything. We're just here to offer the help.
Gotcha.
So for our Rebirth, for the for-profit organization, if you do have insurance, you can go to www.rebirthcounseling.org and go to our contact page, and someone will get in contact with you and match you up with the therapist who we feel kind of best fits your needs. But if you want to utilize our nonprofit for the sliding scale, you'll go to www.rebirthwellness.net. Same thing, go to our contact us page and someone will contact you with the specific services that you've asked to attend.
Nice. And then how can they follow you or Rebirth Counseling on social media?
Yeah, definitely. So we have 2 Facebook pages. We have Rebirth Counseling and Rebirth Inc. On Facebook, and then we are on Instagram as well, counselor_Chris, CRYS.
Nice. Well, thank you for sitting down with me today. Like I said, I will be circling back to you because I do want to take advantage of your services. Like I said, I found an all-inclusive, one-stop shop right here. So I will be coming back to you, and I look forward to sitting down with you again. But for everybody who is out there, please make sure to check out Crystal. I'll have her information here in this video. And for those that are looking to have your business highlighted, make sure to reach out to me. You can go to Keetra at yourkeytoaricherlife.com. You can reach me at 214-561-6037. And don't forget, if you're looking for a home, reach out to me as well. Same contact information, 214-561-6037. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.